Okay, hello second graders. Today we are looking at lesson 4-2. They're asking us to continue to add with partial sums. So we started that before break looking at how to add with partial sums. We're going to be working more on that today. You're going to find that on page 199. So I'm going to go ahead and share my workspace with you so you can see what that page looks like. Here we are, page 199. We're looking at lesson 4-2. And I have Carlos on this page, and he has a partial sums diagram already set up. So I'm going to go ahead and read, and then you can follow along in your book. It says, Wendy picked 37 pairs. Tony picked 46 pairs. How many pairs did they pick in all? All right. There's our story, and the directions tell us to solve the problem using partial sums. Okay, so we're specifically using partial sums. Draw place value blocks to help explain your work. We also need to draw place value blocks. Okay, so if I go back to the story, I'm going to go ahead and identify first my important information. Wendy picked 37 pairs. That's important to know. Tony picked 46 pairs, also important. And then my question is asking me, how many pairs did they pick in all? Keywords, right? In all cues us into knowing that we're going to be adding, so we'll know how many all together. Okay, so I'm going to start by setting up my problem by putting my tens and ones into their columns. So my first add-in is 37. I know that's 3 tens and 7 ones for 37. And my second add-in is 46. 4 tens and 6 ones, so everything is lined up in my columns. My next step is to look at my tens. So I see I have 3 tens in my first add-in, which is the same as 30, and that's going to be written right out on the side here. And I have 4 tens in my second add-in, which is the same as 40. Okay, so if I take 30 and to that I add 40, I have a sum of 70. So I'm going to put 70 here. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to move over to my ones spaces, and I see I have 7 ones in my first add-in. I write that there, and 6 ones in my second add-in. So I'm going to write that there. Okay, and that gives me 7 plus 6. Well, 7 plus 6, if it's not yet in your long-term memory, is a near doubles, isn't it? So if you know 6 plus 6 equals 12, then that can help you with 7 plus 6. Right, that's just one more, so that equals 13. All right, so now I have my tens and my ones all accounted for. My next step is to draw place value blocks to help explain. Okay, so I see I have 70 for my tens, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 7 rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that gives me 70. And then I have 13 ones. So I'm going to add another rod here. 1, 2, 3. There's my 13. Okay, and now I'm going to count those all up to find my sum. So we can count by tens with the rods. Here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, 83. 83 is my total. Okay, so at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and fill in that there were 83 pairs altogether. Okay, all right, so that is our review of partial sums. If you need more time with the diagram or with making your base 10 blocks, then you can go ahead and pause the video now. And meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and move ahead to the next page, and we're going to first look at those green boxes at the top. Carlos is there. And we're being asked to find 38 plus 59. Carlos says you can use mental math to find partial sums. Okay, so here's the difference. He's asking us to use mental math. Now, up until this point, we have been writing out on the side what the 10s are, 30 plus 40, and what the 1s are, 7 plus 6, right? Now he's inviting us to do that in our heads and use mental math. So let's look at what that looks like. I have 38 plus 59. So I'm just going to look at my tens place. I have 3 10s plus 5 10s. And I know 3 plus 5 gives me 8. So I have 8 10s altogether, which is the same as 80. So notice they put 80 in, right? Okay, and now that my 10s are taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and look at my 1s. In my 1s place, I have 8 plus 9. Gosh, that's also a near double. If I know 8 plus 8 is 16, then that can help me with 8 plus 9, which is 17. And so they went ahead and wrote 17 in for the 1s. Okay, so now I have 80 plus 17. Okay, I can even use base 10 blocks for that. I can draw my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 10s for 80. And then for 17, I have 1 10 and 7 1s, right? And then, so all together, that gives me 9 10s and 7 1s, which is the same as 97. So 38 plus 59 equals 97. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take a peek at the guided practice. And here they're asking us to add. Okay, so we're going to be adding. To do that, we're going to use partial sums. That's the strategy that we're working on. And they want us to make sure that we show your work. All right, so let's look at number 1. The equation is 12 plus 23. So again, the first step is to make sure that your 10s and your 1s are all lined up. 12 plus 23. Okay, now we're going to move on to the mental math part. If I know I have 1 10 plus 2 10s, that gives me a sum of 3 10s. And 3 10s is the same as 30. So I'm going to fill that in first, 30. Now I'm going to move on to my 1s. My 1 says 2 plus 3. Well, 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, 5. I do not, here's where we need to be careful. I don't have any 10s, right? We got to be careful with this part, guys. So if I just have a single digit, for example, 5, there's no 10s. So I'm not going to put anything in that 10s column. Notice it's blank here. I'm only going to put it in my 1s column because it's 5 1s, right? Okay, so now I can look at my next step, which is to do 30 plus 5. Now you can draw that with base 10 blocks here. That would look like this: 10, 20, 30. And then to that, adding that 5. So altogether, I have a sum of 35. Okay? All right, so kind of take a minute to look at that. If you need to draw those base 10 blocks, go ahead and do that right now. And then we're going to go ahead and move ahead to number 2. And our equation there is 18 plus 42. So here we have 18 plus 42, and we have our 10s lined up and our 1s lined up. All right, so first step, we're going to look at the 10s, and we're going to do that mental math, right? We're going to do it in our heads. 10 plus 40, or 1 10 plus 4 10s. Okay, if you like the visual support, you can even draw that down here as you go, right? 1 10 plus 4 10s gives me 5 10s, which is the same as 50. So I'm going to begin by putting 50 there. And then for my 1s, I have 8 plus 2. Okay, well, what's 8 plus 2? That's 10. Okay, so I'm going to put 10 here below. So I have 1 additional rod. So 50 plus 10 is what I'm working with. And I know That gives me a sum of 60. Okay, so 18 plus 42 equals 60. Right? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do one more example with number 3. My equation is 33 plus 48. Okay, so they set up the problem, 33 plus 48, and we have our 10s lined up and our 1s lined up. And I'm going to start by looking at my 10s. I have 3 10s plus 4 10s. That gives me a total of 7 10s, okay, which is the same as 70. Okay, again, if you need a visual, you have 10, 20, 30 plus 10, 20, 30, 40. Altogether, that's 70. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, and now I'm moving to my 1s. In my 1s place, I have 3 plus 8. Okay, you don't yet have that in your long-term memory. You can scoop up the bigger number and count on the smaller number. It would look and sound like this: 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11. I'm going to go ahead and put 11 here for my 1s. Okay, so I started with 70, and now to that I'm adding 11. That's 1 10 and 1 1. And so how many do I have all together? Well, now I have 8 10s and 1 1, which is a sum of, got it, 81. Okay, so 33 plus 48 is 81. Okay. Okay, so again, this is a newer concept. We've had some practice with it now before break, and now today we're continuing and filling in the mental math part as well. Remember, you can always use base 10 blocks as you go to help you to visualize. If that mental math part is still a little bit tricky, use the base 10 blocks. That can be super helpful, okay? All right, so let's go ahead then and look at what they're going to be asking you to do for your independent practice. The directions are asking us again to add. We're going to use partial sums, so that's the strategy we're working on, and we're going to show your work. All right, so your job today will be to work on numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and save these bottom ones for our time together. So you can actually, if you want to try it, I would love that. If you want to kind of give it a try, look at it and see, how you do, and then we can talk about it in our Google Meet. If you finish your independent work and you feel like, oh my gosh, my brain is like so full right now, and I don't know if I'm up to tackling that, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it together. Okay, so what I really want you to practice on or focus on today are numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. All right, guys, questions come up, you can always bring them to our Google Meets and we can talk about it more. But other than that, I hope you have a really great day and I will be seeing you soon. Okay, bye.